OTG, take 1.
My name's Jason Jones and welcome to my show. The reason I started this thing is because I've been making media for people for the last 7 years, and I finally felt like it was time to make some media for myself. I have some great cars, but I also have a great group of friends with some amazing vehicles, and we're gonna take you on a journey with those cars over the next couple seasons and see what you guys think. So you've probably read online all the specs on this vehicle, so I'm not gonna spend a ton of time. But it does have an amazing Predator engine making almost 800 horsepower. Ford's been known to fudge that number a little bit, so we know it's making more than the posted 760 horsepower that they say it's making. It probably is closer to 800, but manufacturers for the last few years, and really the last 100 years, have been known to do that. So let's talk about the price. This is one of the most, if not the most expensive Mustang ever made. It's almost $100,000 for the base car. The MSRP on this car was almost $85,000, and most dealers are charging anywhere from $5,000, $10,000, even $15,000 above MSRP. So if you think you're gonna buy one of these cars at MSRP new, not gonna happen. Not that I bought this one for MSRP either, so I'm just like you guys, I'm paying too much. I haven't done a lot to the car, and I'm not gonna do a lot to the car. That's what I love about these new hot rods, is they have warranties. For those of you that follow me and know me, I've had a lot of hot rods through the years, and if you've owned hot rods, you know they're a money pit. They just are. And that's why I switched to new cars almost exclusively, because I love the warranty portion of it. I did lower the front end. I bought the springs from the carbon fiber GT500 package, and it took the front down about a full inch. And it really did change the ride characteristics of the front end. And you're gonna see more of that when we take it for a ride.
OTG, take
No,
3.
no, I have to see all 3 cameras. You gotta back up and put it in my face like this.
Oh, I didn't do that
I
the
know,
last 2.
I know.
OTG, take 3.
It's not just you, babe.
Something fell out of it.
I know, it's fine. Put the headphones on. Let's talk about the break-in period. There's not an official one from Ford, but I have talked to some Ford engineers, and they did tell me to take it easy for the first 1,000 miles of the vehicle, and that's what I did. It was probably the toughest 1,000 miles I've ever had on a car, but I did take it easy. At the 1,000-mile mark, I took it in, got the oil change, and then we ripped right out of the dealer. Now, we've talked enough. You've seen enough. You've heard the music. Let's take this thing for a ride. I am not a professional race car driver. I am not even a top amateur driver. But what I am is an automotive enthusiast that's just excited about cars and anything automotive. We're gonna take a ride. We're gonna have some fun. We're gonna try not to crash this thing, which it's a Mustang, so you gotta be careful. There's 3 modes to this car, really, that you kind of live in. There's the normal mode, which is everyday, kind of putting around town, going to run groceries. There's the sport mode, which is a little bit more aggressive. Doesn't give you full boost, doesn't give you full red line transmission shifts, but it's a pretty aggressive setting for around town. And that's kind of really where I live in the car. And then there's the third mode. There's the, what I like to call Ford's trying to kill me mode. And that's the mode that we're gonna run in today. So I'm not gonna push the car to the limits and kill me mode. Track mode is absolutely kill me mode. It's traction control completely turned off. We're gonna go into manual mode. It's giving me full reign of the car, full boost, full shifts, full control of the vehicle if I can control it. That's the thing. I'm excited for you guys to go along with me, experience the ride. So here we go.
Welcome to Death Mode.
The shifts in this are unbelievable. One of the things that you notice initially is how amazing this transmission actually is. It's the same transmission that's in the C8 Corvette, the same Tremec, but it's got 1 less gear. I don't know if it's geared differently or the rear end's different or however they have it set up, but I like this transmission better. It feels like it gives me more of a sport mode and feel, which I absolutely love. I'd usually come in and hang the rear out on this thing, but I just don't know it well enough. And it scares me still a little bit. Oh man. If you don't love an American supercharged V8, you probably shouldn't be watching my show. You're gonna hear me use this word a couple of times. It's visceral. And this car is very, very visceral. I had a C7 Z06 before this, and I absolutely love that car. And I contemplated getting a base C8, the ones that are out currently. And that car just felt kind of numb. It did not feel like the C7 Z06. And that's ultimately why I went with this car. That car, the new C8, just doesn't feel fun for me. We're gonna do a flat out hit here to the speed limit only. All right, that's the speed limit. Hopefully the video can capture the feel of this thing. If you're watching this, you've probably watched other videos before on it, and I shared some specifics early on. The magnetic ride dampeners too on this thing are unbelievable. We're on some pretty bumpy road right now, and the car's doing a great job of modulating the road. The shifts are instantly. It's important to understand it's still a muscle car. Some people call it a pony car, whatever you want to call it, but it's still a muscle car, pony car. It's not an exotic. It doesn't feel exotic. Now there's pieces of it that do, right? It has a whiff of Porsche about it, but it's not a Porsche. But it's close. It's in the realm. And you guys are probably gonna get mad at me for saying that. GT3, maybe not. Turbo Porsche 911, maybe not, but it's in the realm. For Ford to even get this close in a $25,000 base rental car, to put these goodies into it, is remarkable. If you don't see me smiling, if you're not smiling at home, then you're missing the point. This is why I bought this car. I've had some fast cars over the years. Obviously the C7 that I just had was an unbelievable car. Is this as good as that? I don't know. I don't know. But it's close. It's close. Now there's some shortcomings in this car. The launch control is one of them. We obviously know that was probably put in to save the Tremec transmission, right? This thing's got almost 800 horsepower and probably wouldn't survive a full-blown 6,000 RPM bump. But once this car gets going, it really is like a jackhammer. We're gonna turn around, go back, try to find some more smooth road for us. But I'm having a blast. I'm gonna do a first roll out into this corner. Feel it slipping. There we go. We'll wait till we pull out of this and then grab second and get it. Oh man, it never gets old. It never gets old. This car is constantly fighting you, especially with traction control turned off. The rear end's trying to kick out. The front end is pushing on you. The power is slamming you into the corners. So you gotta be careful with this car. You see guys wrecking those Mustangs. This is 10 times worse, way more horsepower. Still got way more grip, but it still scares you. It still feels like it could kill you at any moment. That's what I love. We're gonna let this truck go ahead of us. Get a little room so we can run a little bit. We'll do some more running, but hopefully that gives you a feel for what this thing is capable of. The GT350 was an amazing car, but I always felt like it lacked a lot of horsepower. It just didn't have enough horsepower to really push you through. This car has all that and then some. Let's go out and run a little bit more.
Welcome to Death Mode.
So it's hard to see, but I put the car in that ditch right there on my second run. So I didn't save the footage because I was so embarrassed, but then I thought, man, that would have been cool to include that. So next time I know. So I was coming down there, doing a high-speed run, full boost tilt, hit that gravel right there, and put that car into the ditch. It couldn't get out. So there wasn't any damage. What was hurt was mostly my ego and my feelings. So thought you guys would like to know that car right there, it'll kill you with traction control off. Let's first talk about the standouts. you have to first acknowledge the engine and the transmission. Ford did an amazing job of putting these two things together. You just experience it, you feel it, you smell it, you hear it. It just embodies everything that a new modern muscle car is about. And that's really why I bought this car. You also have to talk about the Brembos. They're massive. I think they're 16.5-inch on the front, but they're massive brakes. The car does a great job of braking, and I didn't really give it enough credit during the drive because I just didn't want to go through the path so quickly. But the car brakes so well. It allows you to go into those turns so late with such a higher entry speed than you would in a regular car. So the brakes are spectacular. What I also love about the car is the exclusivity. Anytime I go anywhere, you see the camera phones coming out. And let's be honest, we buy some of these cars because they're loud, they're fast, they're obnoxious, but they bring in attention. And this car gets tons of attention just because there's not that many of them. You might see just 2 of them at the car meet instead of 50 like you see everything else.
Can't see the speed.
You can see the speed. And then the last piece, 2 things, the sound and the fun. You just have to hear this car. And anytime you watch any of the shows, either my show or anybody else's, you see how fun this car is to drive. And that's what I love about this thing. I wanted a weekend car to be fun to drive. I wanted you to experience it. If you want a Camry, go buy a Camry. That's a great car, but that's not what this is. This is a weekend car. This is a fun track car. Is it a supercar? No, it's not, but it's a great car and it's fun to drive. Anytime you see someone test drive this car, you see them smiling and laughing. And that's what this car does. It puts a smile on your face and it just makes you want to drive it even more. And that's why I love this car. And those are definitely the standouts for me. So let's talk about the drawbacks. You have to acknowledge the price. This is a Mustang. This is almost $100,000 Mustang. And that's a hard thing to swallow. But a lot of the muscle cars are getting near that price range at this point. So you have to acknowledge that. Is that just kind of where we are? Is that inflation? Are the cars that good? You then have to talk about the launch control. The launch control is absolutely atrocious on this car. I'm not going to say I've been gapped by C8s at the light, but I've seen it on YouTube and I've seen it happen. And it's true, the C8s launch so much better than this car. The launch control is just not good. And it's probably meant for a reason, right? To save the Tremec transmission. Ford probably did some engineering and understood we can't have full launches and we can't be having people break the transmissions like they did the GTRs when they came out. You have to acknowledge the gas mileage. You live at the pump in this car. If you're lucky, you get 100, maybe 125 miles to the tank. I think it's 16-gallon tank. That's tiny and this thing drinks fuel. And if you're in it, you get even less than that, maybe 3, 4, 5 miles to the gallon if you're hitting that red line all the time. Coming to the stage, all the way from Sarasota, Florida, Jason Jones from Onthegrounddesigns. Wait, where's everybody going? Let's talk about the interior. It feels cheap. Now, it doesn't feel as cheap as a Hellcat. It doesn't feel as cheap as some of those Challengers and Chargers, but it still feels cheap. It doesn't feel like a $100,000 car. I hate to compare this thing so much to the C8, but I feel like they're just in the same genre. You get in a new C8 and it feels like a supercar. It feels like the textures and the feel and the way that it's laid out in the cabin is so much better. That's not this car. Then the last thing you have to talk about the 3 or 4, 5, 10, 8, 12, 15 electronic modes that this car has. Traction control, stability control, steering, braking, transmission shifts, full line this, that, this feel, that feel. It's complicated. Ford actually does a great job when they send you a box, a welcome box when you purchase one of these vehicles new. And it has a video, how to use everything correctly, has some really cool stuff on the VIN number, as well as your car specifically. Did I watch the video? No, I didn't. Should I have? Yeah, probably. You probably would have saw me enjoying my car a little more during the drive if I would actually watch the videos, but I didn't do that, so good job to me. So you saw some cool shots. You saw me drive the car. You heard me talk about the positives and the negatives. Is the car worth it after all that? The answer is absolutely yes. The car is absolutely worth it. Would I buy it again? I absolutely would. Will I own this car a long time? Probably not. But I love the car. It's a great car. It's exactly what I was looking for in an intermediate car till the new Z06 comes out. That's just being honest. But would I do it again? I absolutely would. I think it's totally worth it.
Now, all that information on the car is great, But this is a driver's show and this is a driver's car. I told you at the end of the first test drive we would do one more run. It's 3.5 miles back to the light where we started. Now let's focus more on the car this time and a little less on my face on the test drive back. This is a real driver's car, probably the last top-tier gas-powered Mustang ever produced. So I'm trying to enjoy it. I know hybrids and soon all electric cars will be taking over, but I can still dream a little longer in this GT500. One of the last true driver cars.
So like, comment, and subscribe for all future episodes of the OTG Show, and thanks for watching. Oh, and if you do comment below, I'll definitely have an online battle with you. So thanks for watching. Is that it? Are we done?